Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's day one of the Asia Cup, and boy, don't we have not a great fixture, by all due respect, to start a tournament, but it'll be something to talk about. Pakistan versus Nepal, and you're joining us in this preview right here, right now on cricket.com. Remember, both these sides will be starting the tournament, but they've never played a one-day international against each other. Let me just set context for you, and we'll, of course, bring you lots of things. The toss is going to happen in a moment's time. Before that, let me introduce, of course, as you can see, Gurkirat Singh Gill and Nikhil Popat. And we're going to be, of course, picking the bones about this, not just previewing it, but reviewing it as well. Boys, good afternoon to you and happy Raksha Bandhan. Gurkirat was showing off his Rakhi. Show me how many Rakhis you got, man. Be honest, because I just have one sister and she's giving me a good one. What about you?
It's there are six because I get like all of us. My first cousins also come over, so all of us celebrate it together. So yeah, these are six because I have, including my sister, there are five other cousin sisters that I have. So all of us just celebrate it together, and all these occasions are something that we look forward to because now all of us are working, all of us have our own different schedules. So festival time is something that you look forward to because yeah, that's the only time you can also recollect and recall a lot of your memories from the childhood. I was just discussing with one of my cousins that on one of Raksha Bandhans, him and I finished 500 grams of son papdi together, just the two of us. Those were the
Wow.
times.
In
So
fact, I was
yeah.
just going to ask Nix what sweet did he eat and what gift did he give his sisters?
No, we are very practical. It is good transfers with whichever payment method that is preferred because that's the best way to go about it rather than forcing stuff on people. So yeah, both of my cousin sisters have flown out of country for higher studies. So good luck to them, and we had the occasion celebrated last month itself.
Okay, super. Right, with the formality and the festivities aside, boys, let's talk about the cricket because Multan, by the looks of it right now on our television screens, is baking hot, Nikhil. Will
Yeah.
it be something of an indication that, again, another flat road, a national highway, as Gurkirat calls it in the PSL?
Yeah, it could be traditionally you see 240 kind of being the average score here, but there have been scores in excess of that as well. So a lot will depend on which highway are we wanting to see today, uh, and in what capacity. But conditions will not be easy, and it is something that will be a challenge. And I think it's also a good factor to consider in preparing for the World Cup because you're going to play at different venues and you're going to travel a lot. So heat and all of this, it may not seem to be much. It doesn't matter much in T20s, but in ODIs, it will play a factor because a lot of players have been iffy with their fitness. So everybody will want to ensure that they are hydrated and everything is taken care of.
No, I agree with you. Playing in the subcontinent is anyway tough for any cricketer. Gurkirat,
Yeah.
is there any chance, bro, for Nepal to do something unthinkable today under the hot sun in their own backyard? Imagine if Pakistan lose, bro. I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
saying that from an Indian perspective, but maza aa jayega.
like I said yesterday when we were doing the preview, that if it happens, we could expect a lot of memes on Twitter from Pakistani fans themselves. I mean, if you look at it in the last 3 4 years or last 5 years, the most amount of meme worthy or troll worthy content from any set of fans towards their team has come from Pakistan fans. No one forgets what that Pakistan fan had to say about that India Pakistan game in the 2019 World Cup. Waqt badal diya, just baat badal diya, and all that. So it's that way you have to say that Pakistani fans are very self depreciating of their team, and that when it comes to their humor, it's difficult to beat them. So yeah, if that happens, you could be in for a lot of jokes and laughs.
Let's see how it goes because the toss is just minutes away. Now, I just want to get your insight in terms of what you want to do if you win the toss and if you were the skipper out there, guys. Is it as simple as bat first? Because it's baking hot, like I said, and the average first inning score here is 283. In Pakistan, I think last time they played West Indies here in an ODI Knicks. Is that right?
I was looking at that it only in the FRC for on cricket.com. So that's a handy plugin there because you'll be able to get out the last matches, the records at the venues as well. So yep, they played West Indies and won by DLS method that day.
Fantastic. I just want to think about Nepal right now, guys, because we showed you the squads about all the sides in the Asia Cup review. If you guys haven't checked it out, go watch it. It's available on our YouTube channels right now. The toss is going to happen by the
Yeah.
looks of things. And Nikhil, if you can break us the news, it'll be fantastic because I don't have a television set in this room that I'm recording. And I'm guessing
Pakistan have won the toss. That is for sure.
Pakistan have won the toss and elected to bat first is
Oh
the big
yeah.
breaking news from Multan. So obviously you're thinking Babar and the likes of who else? Imam, Fakar, they'll all get runs. They all decently had outings, of course, in that ODI series which preceded the Asia Cup against Afghanistan. Babar got a couple of starts there. But what do you think Pakistan are going to do today? Are they going to send a statement? Can they send a statement, Gurkira, to the rest of the teams watching and be like, we'll get 375, 400 here? Or do you think they'll again play safe?
See, I think the first 10-15 overs they'll approach the game the way it deems fit, because see, it's important always to start well. It might just sound like a cliche, but it is. I mean, because once you've dominated that period, then you can set up for something even more. And the problem with Pakistan has not been their top order. I was reading this reading this review by Shub, where since the beginning of 2022, Pakistan openers have had the highest average, not just for the Asian teams, but for all the teams playing ODI cricket. So uh, top order is not a problem. The way that they could set a statement is if they're 4, 5, 6, they could come in and play those quick fire cameos, or if someone like an Iftikhar plays a 40 ball 60, or Shadab does it, or Aga Salman does it. I think that would be really sending out a statement, because like we discussed yesterday, that is their underbelly. The top four scoring runs rally is not going to change anything about the perception of this Pakistan team. Once they, I think two things if they do. One, runs from 5, 6, 7 and wickets in the middle overs. These two things are their underbelly. If they could do it, then that would be sending out a statement.
Okay, prediction time then. What are Pakistan going to get in their first innings? Let's be bold. There are no prizes to be won, but you guys can chip it in the comments below. And please like this video if you guys are joining us for the first preview/review of this year's Asia Cup. I'm going to put my neck out there and say 338 for 50 overs.
Wow. 338 for 5. Okay. I don't know whether we'll see 300, but it could very well be one of the top three settles. But I'll still probably go with, say, 298 for 6.
298 for 6. Okay, loving that. Not 300, but just there and thereabouts. By the way, my prediction is Nepal to win by 3 wickets. So I know I said 338 for 5 Pakistan, but Nepal will probably be 339 for 8, 49.2, 4 balls spare. And of course, it's a winning runs. Gukirat, what about you? Do you think Pakistan will actually get 300, or you never know? Nepal might spur a surprise.
They should. I mean, I was going to predict somewhere around 315. I think that's also a total that for which they wouldn't really have to stretch themselves a lot. I mean, if they really want to set up a statement, like you said, they'd like to score those 350 or 370. But somewhere between 315, 325 is something I back them to put up on the board, and from there on, their bowlers to do the job. But let's see. I'm not sure. The three ODIs that happened versus West Indies were last year in June, and before that, all the matches were in 2008. So really
Yeah.
can't read that much into the pitch right now. We'll have to see how it plays out.
Okay, I'm just chuckling away the comments as well because Pramod Anand, who of course we showed you a clip of him earlier in the preview, goes on to say 2 big bottles of JD Tavnish if his predictions come true. I mean, honest to God, we'll be celebrating. We could probably call up Monty Desai, and that's a fantastic plug in there I've done for you, Pramod, because on the website right now, the cricket.com website, Pramod Anand, the man himself in the comments, did interview Monty Desai and some great insight from Monty over there. So you can check it out after this preview. By the way, Prasanta Pradhan saying hi to
But
you as
I
well.
think you should, I think
Go
you
on.
should tell people, those who don't know about the acronym JD, like what does JD stand for here?
Are Jack Daniel,
Not
bhai.
everyone would know.
Okay,
Teetotalers
yeah,
like me don't know.
yeah. Maybe in the professional world, it's job description. So In the boozy world, it's Jack Daniels. But look, coming back to the game and the comments, I'll take two comments. One from Mohammed Irfan saying, "Guys, is this a match worth to watch? It will be a one-sided match waiting for September." Obviously, that September 2nd game is great, but this game is good to watch, right? So, Gurkirat Knicks, if you guys were salesmen of Pakistan versus Nepal, how would you sell this match to the public? What are you going to tell them? Why should they watch it?
See, for me, watching new talent and watching new teams, or teams that are coming up, is always something that I look forward to, because there is something which is unknown, right? If you've watched enough, now that unknown factor is not there as much within Afghanistan or in Bangladesh, but with teams like Nepal, UAE, Hong Kong, there's this unknown factor, and I feel that is something also that makes for interesting viewing of the sport. Sometimes now that unknown may not really deliver, and you might just come across an underwhelming game, but there's still that chance that you will come across a talent and you'd be like, oh, this guy is something, this guy is someone who could do something special. And there are talents like that who you will come across, especially when you watch these games. I remember, I was last year watching a game between Netherlands and West Indies. I had a lot of free time, and I, I I really liked how Vikramjit Singh and Scott Edwards were batting. So whenever Netherlands are playing, if I'm not able to watch the game, at least I tune in when Scott Edwards is batting. And so there's obviously this factor of unknown that you want to step up and see. And the other thing is that, if you the other is, something what Nikhil will explain. If you are into fantasy gaming, then all games are worth watching, because there is something to win at the end of the day.
Yeah, you saw even the UAE New Zealand game earlier this year, how UAE kind of sprung a surprise in them, which is good to see. Nix, I was going to ask you, you remember the 2008 Asia Cup, which, funnily enough, was the last time Pakistan held an Asia Cup. India played Hong Kong, remember, in that game. Do you have any vivid memories of that game?
Uh, no, I do remember a few players then, and again, I knew a few of them only because I followed their uh, coming through years, which is why, as Paji said, it's these players that you want to look out for. So there are a few names which I'm sure I will take eventually 2-3 times about Gulshan Jah. So that I've said it once, I'll probably say it 3 more times till the time the preview ends. But yeah, I think that game, actually, now that you've asked, I'm completely blank. But yeah, as just now, I have no idea.
Suresh
Yeah,
Raina basically played in that game. If you guys know,
Yeah,
you
that is
know.
all that I know. But then nothing else. That I
2000,
can't remember it.
2008 Asia Cup, 2008 Asia Cup. I try not to recall because of how India got bamboozled by Ajanta Mendes.
Yeah,
But yeah,
we remember Sehwag though. I mean, that is the only positive thing to remember out of that. That you saw somebody who told you how to play spin for someone who doesn't consider off spinners as bowlers only.
No, I mean, generally, I was just asking the boys, even in office, what were your first memories of the Asia Cup? And many people said that 2008 tournament. Some people said even the 2004 tournament. In fact, speaking of the 2004
yeah.
tournament, we have a great cricket classics coming up on Tuesday. So watch out for that. It's a little of a spoiler alert, but it's basically about the $1,000 given to a certain UAE bowler who got Sachin Tendulkar out in that tournament. We'll, of course, bring it to you. Right. Give us a weather update saying, so Chavan. It's kind of not looking good because I've checked out the Candy Weather app. I've checked out Palikele and their locals, what they're saying. They're not too confident, but hopefully we get something of a game. In fact, the last India-Pakistan game, if you remember, Subodh, was 2019 in Manchester, and even that had rain interfere. So we're hoping that it doesn't kind of play a spoiled sport on that day. Gurkirat, why didn't you take this one from Pranav Anand? Because it's pretty compelling as a comment. He said, I found Pakistan announcing their squad a day earlier interesting. I don't know, but it seems like they've been really trying to seem aggressive in both since the Sri Lanka series. Baseball inspired could be. Do you think that can come to the fore? And do you agree with Pranav Anand here?
Could be a possibility, because if we look back at the series that happened between Pakistan and England in Pakistan, the Test match series, if Pakistan had batted the way that they normally do and not look to replicate what England were trying to do, maybe they wouldn't have lost that series 3-0. Maybe
Yeah.
they could have even won a test match here or there. So Pakistan cricket in the last 1.5 years, especially, or maybe even 2 years, especially when when they were when Ramiz Raja was at the helm and was the president of the PCB, you did feel like that they wanted to sort of adopt an identity and try and inculcate that philosophy. We heard so many times Ramiz Raja talking about how how Australia is a force to reckon with. In fact, they got Matthew Hayden as a coach because they said that he brings a winning mentality and all of that. So it could be a possibility, but it's it could only be a conjecture. It's difficult to say that if it's really the case. I personally don't think that announcing your 11 a day earlier really helps you. If anything, it makes the task easier for opposition because they exactly know the 11 that is going to be out there on the park, and you've taken the element of surprise away from that team. So I am anyway never on board with this tactic. But yeah, I mean, it could be because Pakistan have been a side that has always looked to take something out from some other team that's been working.
Yeah, but
Yeah, we just
just
want
sorry
to.
to add that. I think the thing with surprise is sometimes even your own teams are able to surprise you with their selection. So I think in that sense, it is better that the 11 comes out a day prior.
Oh,
If you know, you
absolutely.
know.
Yeah, that can.
Absolutely. Guys, by the way, I just want to feature the Nepal playing
Yeah,
11 over there. We have, of course, spoken about them. Pramod, if you guys know, has, of course, given a preview and certain tactical calls that they'll be making against the Pakistani batters. That name that Nick likes mentioning, Gulsan Jaz, you can see starts. Karan Casey was my pick in terms of the X Factor. We all know how Sandeep Lamichhane is a household name worldwide. And when we take a look at the Pakistan playing 11 over there, Fakir Zaman, Imam, Babar, Mohammad Rizwan, Aga Salman, Iftikhar, and Shadab. Is that a top seven, Gurkirat, that they will probably even play in the World Cup? Are they trying to get things right before the grand showpiece in India? And Gurkirat is not paying attention to me. His internet is too slow. He's
Yeah,
slept.
I
yeah,
lost you in
His
between.
eyes
I lost
open.
your voice in between.
yeah.
Sahi hai, sahi hai.
Something's
So
been up
basically,
with my internet. I
okay, so
genuinely are.
okay,
I
ठीक है. No worries. For the benefit of you again, is Pakistan's top seven today something that they want to carry forward to the World Cup as well, which is Mohammad Rizwan at 4, Babar at 3, and then Aga Salman and Iftikhar at 5 and 6.
see. I think the 11 that they are playing today, it is very much possible that the same 11 plays against India. The change that I could see in the 11 is that Nawaz could go out for Osama Mir. I mean, that could just be depending upon how the opposition batting is loaded up. If it's predominantly right-handed, then you might as well bring Nawaz in and see, because sometimes playing two wrist spinners can be a little risky because say if you are playing in the evening and there is dew, then you'd still want to have a finger spinner who provides you a little more control than what a wrist spinner would do. So there's that. And yeah, they've gotten Saad Shakil in the squad too. So I don't know if Aga Salman doesn't do well and they want to bring in that left-handed option, they could, but it's unlikely. So this 11 could more or less be their starting 11, barring an injury or someone losing form or just not being able to score any runs.
Hmm. By the way, Sports Fan has made himself quite known in the chat box, saying no surprise if Labinchani is able to collapse Pakistan's top order given their struggles against Afghanistan's pacers. And then Mohammad Irfan going on to say something completely random. Sri Lanka losing key players, especially likes of Hasaranga. Can Sri Lanka defend their title this time around? We'll speak about Sri Lanka because, of course, they play Bangladesh tomorrow, right, boys? Tomorrow in the game. So we'll of course preview that and
Yes.
review it as well. I just want to take a couple more comments to keep them coming through. Meanwhile, I just want to ask the boys something that I'm asking the rest of the office in terms of the cricket.com stance episode. And see, essentially, AB de Villiers said it recently in his YouTube channel, saying that there should be an Africa Cup, there should be probably other continental cups. Do you guys have a say on that in terms of for the greater good for the game? The ICC should probably take something as an initiative for the Europe Cup and so on and so forth. Gurkirat first and then Nix.
Yeah, so I've said this before on our videos itself that there used to be an intercontinental cup held by the ICC only, which was a four-day tournament for teams who did not have a test match status then, right? And someone like Mohammad Shahzad, when he scored a double hundred or something, or a 190, he came into the news. So it is important for the development of these smaller cricket nations for sure. Because see, it's one thing to own your skill while playing the shorter format, but it's completely another when you have to play over the course of 4 days, because you try and understand the tempo and match situations far better. You are tested a lot more, and similarly, then you are able to skill up a lot more. So
But
yes,
does
it
it
could
benefit the
happen, and
boards?
I've said this. See, it may not benefit the boards. I mean, the bigger boards, it may not benefit them, but it could benefit a smaller board. Like if you have a African Cup in Zimbabwe where we saw good crowds for the qualifiers as well, then it could provide a good atmosphere in terms of bringing in people also. So it comes down to where the matches are being held, right? In India, if you'll probably have an Asia Cup, then for non India games you may not get sold crowds. But probably if you do it in Oman, which has a good stadium, and you've had ICC tournaments also being played there. I mean, when India were the official host of the 2021 World T20, and the qualifier round was held in Oman. So who knows? It might bring in crowds there. It might uh, just it might just act as a catalyst for a cricketing culture to develop in that country. It could be that way. See, of course, it's not 100% given that it would happen, but I feel the odds are there that it could succeed there if it's done in a correct manner. Coming to Asia Cup, I genuinely see that if it's being played in a T20 format, there is a potential for 10 teams. We have
Hmm.
six already. There is Oman, there is UAE. uh,
Hong Kong.
there was another team that that my mind was on. I've Hong Kong was there, so that's nine. So yeah, I'm sure that there is a possibility to get 10 teams.
Yeah, I think that'll be great. In fact, Pranav goes on to add in this conversation, and I'd like to throw it forward to Nix, because Pranav says there should be a tournament where Netherlands, Ireland, Scotland play with England, and probably call it the Europe Cup, I'm guessing, or Brexit or something like that. It will help them immensely. But again, the question here is there time in the calendar, Nix? South Africa already so much aligned towards making SE20 a success, for example. So how do the boards shoehorn these tournaments as good as it sounds on paper?
No, I think fair point, but I do feel there is a lot of room where there are times where you are playing random bilaterals which have no use. Two of the series will start today. That is Australia, South Africa T20Is and England, New Zealand T20Is. That can easily be shelved for an idea where you have, say, three teams: Australia, South Africa, and England. Maybe they play a tri series. How is it not better than having two 20 series in that manner? So I think for that you'll need a lot of restructuring in terms of how the FTP is done. So what you could eventually see is you put out two T20s and ODIs, World Cup specific, and otherwise you're only playing tri series or four team member contest. Because then what it does is it gives everybody the incentive. You can get neighboring countries, you can get different countries in a different place. It opens up a lot of more avenues for people to spend money on as well. So I think there is room for that, but it will need a lot of boards to come on board in terms of the plan that let's play tri series like that. Like say India playing Australia tri series. You add one more team there in tri series. Suddenly that bilateral has far more meaning. So like this Asia Cup right before the World Cup acts as a perfect warm up or whatever you want to call it. So I think there is room for that, but it will just need a collective effort because else you'll always end up cutting each other's leagues. So you demarcate calendar for leagues, and if that is the time your league is playing, okay, you play that league. Otherwise, you go out there and participate in other such tournaments.
Hmm. It's food for thought, really. And let us know in the comments if you guys want to see more tournaments like that. If not, even the simple throwback to Tri Series, like Nick's mentioned there. And it'll just bring more crowd, like Urkira mentioned, and more eyeballs to the sport, which is good. I just want to refresh your memory, guys, in terms of the group stage fixtures for this year's Asia Cup. Today, of course, is Pakistan Nepal in Multan. But what else do we have in terms of the schedule and the itinerary? Because my mum was asking me this, And there are a lot of people like that who are still kind of not refreshed in terms of memory of the fixtures. So here we are, 30th August, Wednesday. It's going to start in about 10 minutes' time, Pakistan, Nepal. All the action, of course, I'm not plugging in any broadcaster right now, but just for the benefit of you all, Hotstar and Star to watch it. Bangladesh, Sri Lanka tomorrow, so we'll be doing the preview for that. And the big one, Pakistan, India. So there is a breather on Friday, if you've noticed. So 1st September, there won't be any games, but the candy leg will definitely be seeing India and Pakistan being ruling the roost over there in terms of fixtures. Bangladesh, Afghanistan as well, but that's back in Pakistan. And Sri Lanka will have to travel to Afghanistan as well, beg your pardon, Pakistan to play Afghanistan on the 5th of September. So let's see who makes the Super Fours, but this is the group stage predictions. Now, today, the focus is definitely on Babar Azam, boys, and I want to showcase the Fantasy Research Center on cricket.com right now. And as you can see, lots to love over here. You can check out more. It tells you about recent performances of a certain batter, their worm graphs. If you scroll further down, it will also show you, their weaknesses and strengths against bowling types, against certain bowlers, and all of that. It makes me ask the boys, how do you get Babar Azam out today? If you're Nepal, do you throw the ball to Sandeep Lamichhane? Do you throw the ball to someone else? How do you get him out? Next, Gurkirat.
Yes, Lamichan has got him out once in 3 balls already. That was in a PSL game a few years back. But he's had slight still against Googly. Mujib also got him out similarly, LBW, with a ball with the one that came in like in terms of that angle. So that is something that you can do. I'm very tempted to see if Nepal start with Rajbanshi versus him. Again, it's not that he'll trouble him immediately, but Imam also has a poor record against slow left arm. So there are matchups set for teams to emulate, but you already have 3 good options in there. You have Karan Casey to start with, whose enemy is very good versus left-handers. So that's your first option to take care of the opener and then see if he can get Babar out. Then you have Sandeep Lamichhane or Raja Bansi, the other spin option. Now, whether they go to Sompal Kami and they want to see if that, because he's also coming off an injury layoff. He was not part of the team, so he's had some time off. So that is something to look out for. But yeah, for me, Sandeep Lamichhane remains one, Rajabanshi, and of course you have Karan Casey to then target him if you want to.
It just makes me think, Gurkirat, the fact that Nepal have never come across Pakistan ever in a one-day international, is it like a place where Pakistan are worried because they've never seen any of these guys? So can they be surprised on the day?
No, he's
You're
on
on
mute.
mute. Yeah, he's on mute.
Yeah, I didn't realize I was on mute. So yeah, there will be a fear of unknown for sure, barring maybe playing Sandeep Lamichhane, who's played in leagues across the globe. And yeah, I mean, sometimes it can so happen that that fear of unknown makes you a little more circumspect than what is required, and you could sometimes go into a shell when that happens. So if Nepal are if if there is no help from the pitch or in the conditions, but if Nepal are just sort of accurate with their lines and lengths, and then who knows, maybe the openers could take that extra chance and it may go to hand, then you don't know. But yes, there will be a fear of unknown for sure. And I think if there isn't that loosener in the first 5 overs or first 6 overs, you could see a few chances come in with the openers wanting to take that extra risk. Beyond that, very difficult for me to say for sure, because it's not that I have also watched Nepal enough.
Okay, let's see how they do, guys. I really hope the best for them because none of us gave them a chance in our predictions yesterday. I just want to feature them for you guys again, just to have a chuckle. No one going for Pakistan. No one going for Nepal in this one. So all of us thinking Pakistan, we're thinking with our heads, but wouldn't we love it if there's a kind of an unthinkable? Speaking of which, Nepal's journey to the Asia Cup has been well documented, so much so that we did a video of it on cricket.com. You guys should check that out. Lots more comments coming through, which we'll just definitely take and feature before we wrap up this preview. And of course, we're not doing a mid-inning show in this one, but for India games, we're going to be doing mid-inning show. That's how it's going to work for the Asia Cup. So all you guys joining, definitely keep your comments coming through and keep your likes coming through even more ahead definitely is unwrapped with this picture. Alan James saying this, sports fans saying this, and of course Pranav Anand saying this, all pertaining to, of course, the chat that we had earlier. And we'll end it with sports fans' comments saying it must be the biggest match of their career for Nepal cricketers, so there'll be pressure on them. Wish them the best. Akshay ka prediction feature nahi kara kiya. I mean, look, we'll leave that for the later bits of the show. Right now, I just have to go and get some lunch, guys, before it all unfolds in Multan. Hopefully, Nepal do well, but good luck, Pakistan and their fans as well. Until the next time, we'll see you in the night in the review whenever the game's done, 5 minutes after. That's how it's going to work. Gurkirat, next, good afternoon to you guys, and we'll see you guys shortly. It's me, Abhi Shekti, signing off for this preview. Sorry, Hidnani, you've just joined the chat, but watch the preview. We've spoken about a range of things. Until the next time, it's a goodbye for us. Chuchant, like the video, Pranav Anand, and the rest of the crew watching as well. We'll see you after the game. Cheers.